Hello, my name is Jake DeVos, and this is my data overview of Woodstock High School. So data overview purpose. Our purpose is to identify student learning problems and then brainstorm to potentially increase the performance level on our physical science EOC scores to close the possible achievement gaps. So we're going to look at this data and we're going to see if there are any achievement gaps in our physical science EOC scores. And as we do this, I want you to ask yourself, what kind of achievement gap, if any, will we find in the data? Do you think there's going to be a gap between our demographics, between our students' performance level on the EOC and previously the EOCT? So possible causes of low achievement, why students may be performing low on our EOCs or EOCTs. Well, student population growth could be one, demographic changes could be one, instructional habits of teachers could be another one. So we just need to be open-minded as we go through this data, and we need to constantly be sure that we are not putting blame on the students as we look at this data. That we are only addressing what we as teachers can control, and what could we affect the most as teachers, and not put blame on students, blaming them for bad grades. So first, to go over some general data, the total number of students enrolled at Woodstock High School. We had a massive increase from 2014 to 2015. In 2014, we had around 2,000 students, and in 2015, we around 2,300 students. So this is something that we could be aware of, something that we could be looking at again to see if this is a potential factor into any achievement gaps that we might find. Here are four pie charts of race and ethnicity at Woodstock High School, and they're done by year here. So the top left we have 2013, and then underneath that is 2014. Top right is 2015, and underneath that is 2016. These are all the demographics, percentages of what we find at Woodstock High School, and there's not very much of a difference here. All the categories, like the most, it will change just by like 4 or 5%. So it is, as it is quite consistent, it would be unlikely for this to be related to any achievement gaps to be related to a change in demographics, as they are quite consistent. And this is just on Woodstock High School, the CC, and the district and the state, the CCRPI scores from 2014 to 2016. This is definitely a strength of Woodstock High School, where we, for the first time since many years, we scored an A on our CCRPI in 2016, which is awesome. Really proud of Woodstock High School for doing that. And we consistently are above, we score above the district and the state for these past 3 years here on our CCRPI score. Definitely something to be proud of, and definitely a strength. So here we're looking at Woodstock High School Physical Science end of course test results, or just the milestone, as well as you'll see in 2015 and 2016. Average for all students. So this is all of our students, and this is what they scored on average on the EOCT and EOC. The very bottom axis on our x-axis here, you'll see it has the years, and then underneath that it has the type of test that we were taking. So we had the EOCTs all the way until 2014. In 2015 we began the EOCs, or the milestone. So while we were taking the EOCTs, our students were always averaged above an A, which is awesome. But then after our change in testing, which could be the and I think is most likely the reason why our grades went down so drastically in 2015, was a change in our testing and the grading and all that for our end of course test or end of course grade, right? So as we can see, there's a massive decline being from 92 to 61, but like I said, it's probably because of the change in test. But then at Woodstock High School, our students actually had an increase by about 10% from 2015 to 2016 on our end of course test, or on our milestone. So let's compare this with some other data here. So here we have the scores received from Woodstock High School, the district, and the state. So it's a similar type movement here. It's right around 90 at the beginning in 2012 during the EOCT portion, but then once you hit that EOC, it's going to dive. Now, I couldn't get the data for the district and the state. I don't know if that's out yet for 2016's EOC, but again, you can see Woodstock High School going to above a 70, increasing by 10% there. So I'm hoping that I would imagine that we would do better than the district and the state, but it's not here, so we really can't consider that. I just think it's good. So here is Woodstock High School's physical science and of course tests, or the milestone, obviously, demographics with results. So here we're including the demographics in this data and how Woodstock High School did between the different demographics. And I have the three largest demographics at Woodstock High School being Black, Latino, and white. So on the EOCTs, there was a little bit of a gap in 2012, not very much, I mean about 10%, which is something in 2012. And then you seem to close that gap a little bit, and then it kind of opens back up in 2014. So I don't know what we could determine from that. But then looking at the EOC scores for 2015, 2016, definitely raises some questions here that we may need to address. But our Black and Latino populations at Woodstock High School scored almost 20 points underneath our white population on this physical science and milestone, consistently from 2015 to 2016. I want to see what's going to happen with the next couple years here, but whether that's going to close on its own or what the issue is here. But we need to be asking ourselves what we could be doing differently in this area. So just some data to ponder on. So some questions. Did this data surprise you in any way? Were you surprised on our population growth, on our demographics, on our physical science, EOCT scores? Did that surprise you in any way? What could we do as instructors with the knowledge of this data? What inferences and observations can be made from this data? And how do you think Woodstock High School performs compared to the district and the state? As for myself, I'm very proud of our school. I think it's incredible. Now, a weakness of ours may be that achievement gap, if there is one. I don't want to speak in any definite terms here, but it's worth looking at that data. So, a strategy. I would like to introduce the why method. So, the main idea here is, let's take this possibility of there being an achievement gap in any of our courses. You would answer the first why question. That why question would be, why is there an achievement gap? And then you'd ask yourself again, why did I come with that answer? So, for instance, why is there an achievement gap in physical science? You'd answer it, well, maybe it's the instructional teaching methods that our teachers have implemented that is giving us achievement gap, or perhaps we're not reaching out to the Black and Latino communities correctly. Maybe they don't feel like they're included in the school. Maybe that's an answer to that first why question. And then you answer the second why question. So you would say, why are we not reaching out to those communities? And then you have to answer that question, and answer that question with another why question. And that just digs deeper and deeper into the topic, hopefully coming to a conclusion. And other people would have different answers to the first why question. So it's really, really good strategy, I think, to use to brainstorm together to figure out what we can do to help our student learners. Anyway, so that's my presentation on our data overview. Thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful day.